Spencer, the game here has summed the season up really. You played really well, no difference between the teams. You were relegated and they finished just out of the playoffs. The silly mistakes cost you the game, would you agree?
At both ends. You know, I think they've had 5 attempts the whole game, scored 3, 1 a deflection. We've missed 2 1-on-1s at key moments, 1 in the first half. We've been the better team in the first half. Second half there was nothing in it, but experience told in the end, and both ends of the pitch. You know, silly sending off at 2-0 down, third goal's a deflection. It tells the story of our season really, because I said I thought we actually played quite well, and disappointing way to end, but it's the story of our season, and hopefully we can save them up for another day.
Yeah, I mean, the Adam Bryce sending off, which I know it was only sort of 5 or 6 minutes from the end, but it clearly had a big bearing on the game really towards that, you know, goal winning afterwards. But what was he sent off for, and what was your opinion of that?
Well, the referee said he's used the C word, which is a disgusting word at any time, and aimed at towards him. And the reality is whether the referee's walking away or not, you shouldn't be using that type of language. But he's aimed it, he says, at the Concord player, and you've seen Concord's tactics. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from Concord, but I'm glad I don't have to play them every week. I mean, it's just constant abuse from the sidelines all the way through the game. They're very good at it, and I think it takes away from actually they're a fairly decent side, and I thought we more than matched them today. But at both ends we've been caught out, and Adam's shown his immaturity by giving the referee even the opportunity to do it. But I think the referee has dealt with their antics throughout the game, and then he's decided to make an example, and instead of making an example of the team that have been coming up with all these antics from start to finish, he decides to turn it on our player, and that's inexperience shown by our youngster, who's I thought had a half decent game today. I thought generally it was better again. It was similar to last week. It was a half decent performance, but you can't miss the one-on-one chances we had at key moments and expect to win football matches. But there we go. As I said, we'll hopefully save them up for next season.
Yeah, certainly they were key chances at key times in the game. I think it was Aaron Tunwa scuffed his shot when he really should have got it on target and probably have scored. And then you would have bet your life that Michael Richards threw one-on-one either side of the goalkeeper. It was a goal.
And Jamie White in the first half, when he's caught the slip of the defender who's overplaying it, and he's got to score. He's got all day to score the whole goal to aim at. That should be 1-0. And as you said, Aaron Tunwa, he's got the whole goal again. And, you know, key chances, the best chances of the game. We've created a lot more chances than they have. They're a good side. They've pushed hard for the playoffs, Concord. Take nothing away from them. But, you know, it's shown today the difference between a team that is quite experienced, you know, gives their manager absolutely everything, has pushed hard for the playoffs, and I think we've more than matched them. It's certainly not a 3-0 result as far as except on the score sheet, but that's what counts. And I've just said to the players in there, you know, we've given a lot of pride today, a lot of effort. We had players that were injured that carried on playing. We had one sub, unfortunately poor Nathan wasn't fit to be involved, and we lost another one just before kick-off. So, you know, we were absolute bare bones, and it was important we gave some pride. But, you know, I'm disappointed for the home fans. We desperately wanted to win. You know, we gave a good performance last week and earned a good point there. And we've just got to pick ourselves up again, see where the off season takes us, and you know, who's here again. We'll start in earnest in August.
Yeah, well, anybody that's managed to any level knows that now the hard work begins, because you've got to now formulate a new team for next season, and probably your work will be starting tomorrow. No,
the work started about 4 weeks ago. You know, we're well advanced with 3 or 4 key targets, and obviously people are under contracts. Players have come to us. We're going to have a trials game a week on Wednesday. We've got a lot of agents that speak to us with players coming out of pro clubs. We've got a great, attractive facility here. It's a big club. We know it's going to be very difficult next year. And you know, I've got to sit down with the owner this week coming up. And you know, my view is we need stability on the pitch. We've got stability off the pitch. We need stability on the pitch, and then hopefully grow from there. We'll keep a number of the lads from this year. They've had good experience, as in played a lot of games in this level, and learnt hopefully from the bad experience of a relegation. Relegation is part of football. And we'll speak to players and try and get exciting players in. As I said, we're already working hard on that, and then we'll look to what happens in pre-season. We always have to be at the bottom of the pile when it comes to pre-season because of our financial constraints, but a lot of things can change in the next couple of months, and you know, it's a case of take a break now, take a deep breath, and go again.
Do you think you'll find it harder finding players to play in the Southern or Premier of the Rhineland, whichever one you end up in, rather than the Conference South?
Yes and no. I mean, obviously the pro club combination contacts that I have, and we have an awful lot here, they obviously want to put their players to the highest level they can. So that's definitely going to be detriment to us. But at the end of the day, we have a fantastic facility here, and the most important thing for players that you do take on loan is that they're playing games. Now obviously we would like to have a more settled squad. It's one of the lessons I've got to take on board this year. We have used too many players, and that's ultimately my responsibility. There's reasons behind, and the main reason is money. But the reality to it is we've helped players, and I think CJ Fern was an outstanding winner of the Supporters Player of the Year today. He's come through the academy, he's played games last year, he's grown, he's getting better and better, and he's a credit to the club, and that's the type of player we need to build around. And it's a very attractive scenario for people to come here. We can't match what clubs are paying out. We won't get anywhere near what most of the clubs are playing in the division below. But we're confident with the players that have already contacted us that we can put together a good side. And as I said, there's a lot of off-season to go, and the sponsors have been coming back, so hopefully we can try and do something a bit more with my budget when I sit down with them. But we've got to be realistic and not try and run before we can walk. Let's get our heads down, let's start well, let's try and get players that are desperate to play for the club again, and look forward to August.
Yeah, well, I've no experience of the Southern Premier. I have with the Ryman Premier, and any league is very, very difficult to get out of. But I have heard that the Ryman would be a little bit harder. I don't know whether you would agree with that. And which league of the two would you prefer to be put in if you had your choice?
I don't think well, number one, there's no choice, and this club's always been Southern League. I can't see there's any real circumstances of it being anything other than Southern League. So that's not something to even concern me. It's 3 times the travelling of the Conference South. That is a concern because there's another cost involved. So that's certainly the bad news. We know how difficult these divisions are. You've only got to look at, friends we've had from this division, the Dorchesters, the Truros, the Hampton and Richmonds, the Tunbridges, Hornchurch have had another relegation. So the next level down is particularly difficult. There's some big clubs in there with big budgets. But we've got a core of players here, and it's only a small core of our players that have had, as I said, a lot of games this year, and we've been fighting this position for 3.5 years, and we've got to take the positives from that and try and get some exciting players who again want to wear the yellow and blue shirt and go again. So we know it's going to be particularly difficult. There's not a lot in it except at the top end. We know that the Conference South is very strong at the top end with some huge budgets. But as I said, we're still here. The club's surviving. Things are growing well off the pitch. But ultimately, I want to be winning games on the football pitch, and we haven't done that this season, and that's very disappointing. There's no doubt about it. All things considered, it is still disappointing, and we've got to give our fans something to smile about early next season. And we know it's going to be very difficult, but let's look forward to it. Let's be positive, and let's get on with the job.
Yeah, certainly. I'm sure the crowds have come back, even Ryman Premier or Southern Premier, whatever it is, with a winning side. Would you agree with that?
Totally. I've been saying that for a number of years here. We've concentrated when I was in charge, and even to a degree this year I made it very clear we've got a wonderful facility here given by volunteers, by people that have put up money, including myself, lots of money, and perhaps that's where some mistakes have been made. Ultimately for 3-4 years while you and I arrived, it was we've got to put the PRE roof on because more fans will come in. And I keep reminding people, we are a football club, we are Farnborough Football Club, and it sounds the most obvious thing. Supporters want to support winning football teams, and we all argue about we want to be self-sustainable and we want the roof on this and we want the kitchen cafe open. Ultimately we want a team on the pitch, and we've survived for 3 seasons on next to nothing, but this year it's caught up with us, and it's important that we focus on that grass area out there, and we put a smile on people's faces. And you've seen a number of teams. You only have to look at someone like Bristol Rovers, who got relegated last year. I think they're 50% up on their crowds in the division below because they're a winning team. We're in the entertainment business. We haven't done enough of that this season, and it's vital. If we can start performing on the pitch, the fans will come back, whatever level you're playing at, and it's a tough level. So let's get them back. Let's give them a reason to come back.
Well, I'd love to see all the crowds back and Farnborough have success, and how they richly deserve it. It's a lovely place to come and friendly people.